Mr. Fulyuna, it's been quite an interesting couple of weeks. We had a 2-week break from the show, but that doesn't mean we haven't been working.
We've been very, very busy, so we've got lots to share with the viewers and also for future weeks coming. But I will say that it has been a very interesting week for South Africa, because we have gone from Concourt to Escort.
What do you mean?
Uncle Zuma has gone from the Constitutional Court
to
jail in Escort.
Full circle happening right there. On another front, you've actually gone and had your first jab.
My first jab, yes, the first COVID vaccine.
So have they now opened the over 75 age slot?
Yeah, they have. So I got my first slot, but I've got to say I'm hugely disappointed. After watching all these videos on Facebook and YouTube, I sincerely was expecting magnets to be able to stick all over my body, which hasn't happened.
Yeah.
I was really hoping that I'd be able to connect directly to 5G towers, which also again hasn't happened. But I think my biggest disappointment is that Xavier from X-Men, as a result of that failure, has not contacted me to invite me into the team.
Amazing. So, a lot of myths being busted.
A lot of myths, but I've got to say I've had absolutely no issues. A little bit of a sore shoulder from the jab, and that went away overnight.
Cool.
So, yeah.
All right, guys, I think let's get the show going. Thank you very much for joining us. We've got a lot of guys online at the moment. Guys, please remember that this show is interactive. That's the reason why we do this live. So please, you can just say hello. You can hit the like button. Let me see if anybody hits a like button there. If you have any questions, you can please put your questions in the comments below. If you have a opinion about something, please let us know, and we'll get to you guys. All right, Pete, I think let's get straight into the show with this week's news. Okay, Pete, I think we're going to start this off by going to the third story first, and then we'll come back to it a bit later. So why don't you ask the viewers a question?
Yeah, so we're going to put a picture up of a vehicle that's going to be launched now in South Africa. We've deliberately removed logos, and we want everybody to try and put in the comments section what they think this vehicle is. So what type of car do you think this is? Who makes this vehicle? And we'll come back to it and explain it in a little bit more detail and reveal exactly what it is after our next two stories.
I'm looking forward to seeing what the guys think that is. So please, guys, in the comments, what do you think that was? Okay, so let's get to the first story. Sales figures, Peter. The NAMSA sales figures for last month. We've been having a lot of good sales record months, in fact, for some manufacturers over the past couple of months. And I thought let's have a look at the sales for last month. What does this graph tell us?
So, I mean, the green shoots are there. There's no doubt we're some 34% up year to date compared to this time last year. But let's remember that last year was a very, very low base.
Yes, correct. Because we were just sort of getting out of that hard lockdown type of phase, eh?
Correct. So if we compare to previous years, we're still about 100,000 units behind, actually.
Sure.
But, we realize obviously we're coming off a horrible year. What's going to be interesting going forward is to see what impact the lack of stock is going to have on sales. Because I don't think that the slow sales, so to speak, are due to a lack of appetite from customers out there. I think there's really a challenge with stock.
Yes.
And we're seeing that in new and used car prices. So used car vehicles are trading for eye-watering amounts of money.
Yes.
So if you want to get out of your used car, this is the time to do it now.
And also not a bad time to buy a new car with the interest rates as they are at the moment.
Absolutely. I mean, they're actually at all-time lows. So, and again, I would suggest if you're going to purchase a vehicle on a hire purchase scheme or a lease scheme, try and fix your interest rate.
Correct.
You pay a little bit of a premium, but the premium is so low at the moment because of the fact that interest rates are so low. It's an awesome time to buy a car.
Awesome. Okay, so let's move on to the second story. And I see the guys, before we get there, there's Marius Haynes says he thinks that's a Kia. Marius Lange thinks that's a Volvo. Let's see. Peter or Dave says, Peter, turn down the backlights, making the hole in your wig shine a bit. Well
That's
done,
nasty.
Dave.
That's nasty.
Mayberg says he thinks it's a Val. Leandra thinks it's a Bentley. Okay, so let's see.
Okay.
Keep those comments coming, guys. Okay, so let's get to the second story. So something that was supposed to happen and then now didn't happen, the whole demerit system that was supposed to kick in from the 1st of this month.
Yeah, it's called Auto. I personally think they should rename it Groundhog Day because we keep seeing this movie and the scene playing out over and over again where they get all excited and then delay it.
Yes.
So it was supposed to be launched now on the 1st of July. That's now been sidelined. It's going to be launched in 4 phases, which will culminate in effectively a July 2022 launch.
Okay.
But you want to hear the latest reason why Groundhog Day was delayed?
Why? Tell me why.
I mean, maladministration.
Really?
Gee,
in South Africa, what a shock.
I mean, I'm completely blown away. So, and COVID. Don't forget COVID. So, it's quite an amazing virus because it is also causing maladministration
at Auto.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's quite pathetic, really. But my personal view is that this kind of legislation doesn't belong in South Africa. I mean, we look at how powerful the taxi industry is and what they're doing.
Yes.
That's my personal belief as to why this thing's actually been delayed.
Correct, because we've been seeing
said no.
Agreed. Okay, so Simon Labello, thanks for watching. He says he thinks that's a Toyota. Okay, so I think let's give it a bit of a drum roll and then let's get to our third story. And this is the launch of the brand new
Kia Sportage, believe it or not. Look at that.
Right, so that's the one that we showed you guys. There's the logo. This is the new Kia Sportage. And Peter, an iconic model for Kia.
This is an iconic model for Kia. I personally believe that this was, the original Sportage was what put Kia on the map. Up until that point, Kia it wasn't an unknown brand, but it wasn't exactly a zhuzhy brand. It wasn't a sought-after brand. And of course, Peter Schreier left Audi as their chief designer and joined Kia. And he started to pen vehicles like the Sportage. And you can see the influence of his European philosophy in their vehicles. And the new the Sportage, when it was launched, suddenly propelled Kia to a position where they started to have back orders for 18 months.
Yes.
And they've never looked back.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, their vehicles are absolutely stunning. The build quality is outstanding, and the value proposition is still there, despite the fact that they've gone up in price relative to their cousins at Hyundai. But they are the premium brand now. And rightfully so. I think the cars
I'm really looking forward to reviewing that car. It's really, really good looking. Okay, so I think who was it that got it right? Let's go back. Marius Haynes said Kia. Well done, Marius. You got that one right. Marius Lange, unfortunately, no, Brie. That's not a Volvo. And I think the Volvo wishes it was that. But anyway, I didn't say that. Okay, so we had the pleasure, Peter, of going down to BB in Cineville, the BB Motor Group Nissan dealership in Cineville, and we reviewed the new Nissan Navara. And there's a lot of hype about this car in the news and on social media and everywhere. What did you think?
Well, I think they should change the name from Navara to Nirvana.
Really?
Oh, I absolutely love that vehicle. So let's have a look at the review, and you'll see why we think the way we think.
Awesome. So Peter Viljoen, we are here at BB Nissan in Cineville, and the Nissan Navara is the reason that brought us here this morning. I was lucky enough to be on the media launch of this car about a week or two ago, and I had to bring you and show you why I was smiling so much.
Well, I mean, you can see the smile that I got on my face.
Listen, your first impression when you saw this, Pete?
Wow, Fonny, I am a huge fan of big trucks.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things that I regret about being South African is that we don't get proper big trucks in this country. But man, this looks like a big truck. It just gives me that feel of a big truck. And I think that Nissan have done an amazing job on the design of this bakkie.
Especially with this front end.
Yeah, it just is imposing. It's imperious.
I agree with you. It really does have that very aggressive, big-looking truck feel to it. I agree with you. Listen, take us through the very impressive front grille and front side of this bakkie. There's a couple of extras we need to say. Let's start with. So this is an extra bonnet protector here. This nudge bar is extra, so this is not standard.
But let's talk about this nudge bar, because there's nudge bars and then there's nudge bars.
Very nice.
Most nudge bars are actually just bolted on underneath.
Correct.
This actually is bolted into the chassis itself.
This is probably one of the most impressive parts about the front side of this bakkie. This is LED projector beams.
Yeah, LED projector beams, so your low beams are at the bottom.
Yeah.
And then high beam is with all 4 of them on, so...
Okay, and then your LED daytime running lights. Again, very distinctively Nissan. Very nice, I like that. So this is not the standard alloy wheels, but these are Nissan approved.
Yep, and it's important that they've got to be Nissan approved, because tyres and rims get homologated with a vehicle.
Yes.
And there's specific reasons for that, because the weight of the alloy and the tyre impacts the harmonics of the suspension and the handling.
Agreed. Very nice, aggressive looking from the back as well. This detail, this embossed Navara logo in the back here it's something small, but it makes a huge impression on me.
And while we're here at the tow hitch, let's make mention of the fact that this does have a 3.5 ton towing capacity as well.
Silly, actually. The first noticeable difference for me when I got into this car was the smaller design and new design steering wheel. So that made a nice impression, and it feels very nice in your hands. All the normal stuff that we would expect, and I think, let's discuss it and unpack it quickly. Cruise control, normal standard, we got used to that. Your on steering wheel controls for your infotainment system and for information, driver information, that's normal. This is probably, what is that, a 7-inch display?
Yeah, a little 7-inch TFT display, but I mean, that's premium if you think about it. It's not normal in a bakkie.
One thing that impressed me a lot was the 7-speed automatic gearbox. Very, very smooth. This doesn't necessarily have more power. Sort of the same.
It has the same power, but the range of power is better.
So there is definitely an upgraded drive as well.
Maybe my only criticism would be that the storage compartments are a little bit on the small side for a vehicle of this size. So both the center,
I've seen a little bit bigger, yes.
Yeah, center box over here as well as this cubby hole is very, very small.
I hear you. Okay, so I think let's get into the back seat quickly.
Okay, let's do that.
So this is the one thing that I think all of the manufacturers could definitely, and I don't understand why. Who are they catering for? This is a double cab, supposed to be for 4 people to comfortably drive in this. So this is something that's a little bit of a negative for me.
Well, I suppose if you put 2 adults in the rear, your comment is valid. But most times when you're operating your vehicle, it's the 2 parents with the kids in the rear. And I think with kids, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
One of the things that is different with this is the raised seating position, so that whoever is sitting in the rear isn't blocked off behind your headrests. You do have the ability to have a nice clear vision. So I think a bit of a compromise at the end of the day. And if you look at the usage, is predominantly children in the rear, I think it's okay.
So air vents at the back, which is nice. You've got USB socket at the back here, and something that we didn't mention is the USB-C. Which all the new phones are moving to USB-C, so there's a USB-C port in this center console as well. So Pete, I've had the opportunity to drive this vehicle on-road, off-road, everywhere. I think it's time that you actually have a chance to drive this.
I can't wait. Let's go.
Let's go.
So Fani, before we drive off, I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable in your seating position?
I am very comfortable.
Let me tell you something interesting about the seats in the new Navara that perhaps you did not know.
Okay.
So these seats, the design was actually inspired by design applications on zero-gravity seats for astronauts.
What?
Yeah, so obviously as an astronaut, you don't want the astronaut to fatigue on long journeys between takeoff and then eventually getting to the space station, which can take up to 2 days, by the way.
Yeah.
So they created what's called a neutral posture design in this seat. And it's therefore designed to reduce fatigue on long distance driving. How's that?
That is amazing.
It's cool, eh?
But let's go for a drive, man.
Absolutely. I'm just going to reverse out here, seeing as we've got this beautiful reverse camera. That's nice and high definition, by the way, which a lot of them aren't.
And I enjoy the predictive sort of lines. I don't like the, the stationary lines.
Static, yeah.
So, like I said, I've had the privilege of driving this on and off-road, so I'm very, very interested to hear your first thoughts, because you've got a very high expectation.
I do have a high expectation, but I've got to say that already I feel like I'm in a big vehicle, nice long bonnet.
Yes.
The seats are genuinely comfortable, so I've got to say they've done a fantastic job on that.
Okay, so taking off from that robot, how's that power delivery?
I mean, for a turbo diesel, you typically would expect a bit of lag. It wasn't too bad at all. And in fact, once the revs got up, it really started to get going quickly.
Yes.
The engine, surprisingly, is nice and quiet as well.
And I think they did mention that there's a little bit of work that went into the isolation of the cab. So it is definitely, and that's why I asked you the question with regards to noise.
Yeah.
It is quieter in here.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely quiet inside the cabin. There's very little ingression of noise from the engine bay. I'm particularly impressed with the lack of road noise that we're picking up, considering that we've got all-terrain tires on the vehicle as well. So, yeah, very impressive.
So, we spoke about the upgraded suspension on our walk around outside the car. Now that we're inside the car, I think this is one of the big things that they've got right here. We are not without a load at the moment, so the car is unladen. Is that the correct? Am I speaking proper Queen's English now?
You are, and look at, we've just gone over a few speed bumps.
Yes.
The vehicle's unladen.
Yes.
Normally that's when it's at its most bone-jarringly hard ride.
Correct.
And it's silky smooth and soft. You were at the launch and you had the opportunity to take the Navara off-road. What was it like off-road?
So we there around the Hartbeespoort Dam area, we went up a mountain, okay? Very, very rocky and very technical in some places. So I can honestly say that this vehicle is really capable off-road. And also the dirt road handling. When I had the opportunity to actually go on a game drive with the car. So we went on a game drive, and this is unbelievable off-road. One thing, again, that they got right with the design here is your approach and your departure angles. I don't know if you saw that when we were outside the car. Mm-hmm. Very aggressive, and we had no issues going up very technical stuff with a stock standard Navara. Nothing added to that bucky, and I was super impressed. Okay, so we're driving back into the dealership, and I think it's an important time to mention this. If you are interested in a new Navara, you better wake up, okay, and get down to your nearest BB Nissan dealership, because there's already, we spoke to Andre Lemmer here. Pete, what did he say about the waiting list?
Yeah, he said he's already got a back order of 45 orders on the Navara. So, I mean, that talks a lot to the demand that's on the vehicle, and I think the market acceptance is there on the vehicle. So I expect lots of sales out of this. It's going to be interesting to see how the Navara competes against its traditional rivals.
Yeah, and something that we didn't mention is that there's now a single cab version available of the Navara, and I think that might help with competing against the volumes that we've seen, versus Toyota and Ford. Let's mention them. So I think we need to keep an eye out on that.
It's going to be interesting, and I just hope that Nissan have had the courage of their conviction to order lots of stock of this, because I think they're going to be seriously surprised by the sales.
So, Mr. Viljoen, I've only got one question for you. Are you smiling?
I am smiling.
Why?
Because this vehicle is awesome, in a nutshell.
Okay, so final thoughts on the vehicle, the drive, and then we have to give it a rating. Okay, and I've got a very sneaky suspicion we're going to get a very good rating here. So final thoughts, Pete?
I think that Nissan have put together an outstanding package here, especially if you consider the pricing relative to its competitors. Think about this,
yes.
Top of the range, nearing 750,000 Rand,
yeah.
Compared to, and it's a brand new model, compared to aged models that are nudging R1 million. I think this is a winning package.
I agree. This LE that we test drove today is not the top of the range.
Yep.
The Pro 4, Pro 2X and Pro 4X buckies with all the bells and whistles, That's the top of the range. But Pete, this Ali's sweet
stunning.
spot. Sweet spot.
It's absolutely stunning.
All right. Okay, so I'll start off and give you my rating. I was looking forward to this. I'm an ex-Nissan guy. This is where I started with Nissan in the motor industry, so that they will always be close to my heart. My rating out of 10 for this. Should I say 10 out of 10 or
Why
can I
not?
go
In its
9?
segment, in its segment, why
Pete,
not?
I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. I'm very, very impressed with this. And the other question that we normally ask is, would we buy one? I would definitely buy one.
Well, I think I can echo exactly what your sentiments are. For me, it's a 10 out of 10. They've done a fantastic job. The pricing is superb, considering what the Rand has done and the fluctuations. So I think Nissan have been very brave in terms of pricing it where they have. It ticks all the boxes for me. I would also give it a 10 out of 10 because I do believe it's the best bakkie in the market at the moment, and I would absolutely buy one if I was in the market.
On that bombshell, that's it from us and our review on the Nissan Navara. From us at Let's Talk Automotive. We'll see you guys next time.
Cheers, everyone.
Right, as you can see, that review was proudly brought to you by the BB Motor Group. And if you're looking for some specials, you can please visit www.bbgroup.co.za. Peter, that was ridiculous. We really enjoyed that car.
We did. I know that, and you mentioned it earlier, we might cop a bit of flack for giving it such a high rating, but yeah, I mean, it deserves it. At the end of the day, it's the best bakkie in the segment as we stand today.
I agree. So before we get there, I want to just get to some of the comments here. Davikucha says that was impressive. Marius Haynes says those lights on the Navara is everything, and we agree. Simon Lebello says 10 out of 10. We agree. And guys, please, we are getting into just now our guest segment for tonight. And please remember that we're doing this live so that you can be part of the show. So if you have any questions for Frankie, later when we do How Things Work, we can talk to Peter, or Professor Peter as he's known, for only that segment, and then interact with us. I want to see some shares and likes, and let's give them some time here. Peter, let me just check if you guys are you listening to me? I want to see some likes.
Well, I'll tell you what's important.
Let me see some likes and some shares.
It's also the YouTube channel, which, by the way, thank you so much to everybody. It is phenomenal how the channel's performing.
Yes.
So please remember to hit the like button and the bell to subscribe.
That's it.
And help us get that out there, because it's what keeps this show going, and we at the moment doing it out of love.
Absolutely.
But we want to carry on for a lot longer.
I see the guys all watching. I see some likes and stuff going on.
Excellent.
Okay, so let's get straight into this week's guest. Mr. Frankie du Toit, 94/7, as we say these days. How are you doing?
Good, and you, Fanny and Peter? Look, I've got to start off. I just have to say I'm actually a little bit upset. I know I can't off the bat get angry with you guys, but I just feel like Peter was bragging at the beginning of the show, and I need to take him on about this because, Peter, you're saying you got your COVID jab, right?
I did, but only because I'm an
senior citizen.
I'm a senior citizen.
Well, I'm currently speaking to you from lockdown with COVID because I literally have COVID. I picked it up like 4 days ago. So, just that was an extra jab for me when you said I got
Oh,
jab,
sorry, Frank.
I was like,
Frankie.
no.
Well, at least you are in good spirits and seemingly still in good health. So I think that's a very positive thing to take away. But Shay, man, are you feeling okay?
No, I'm fine. I've had mild symptoms. I've had a cough, and I've had I actually went for a test just because I see quite a few people around me. So for me, it's more about keeping everyone safe. So that was the big thing for me. I was like, let me just get a test to make sure. And so it was positive. But so far, nothing too bad. So I don't have any of the hectic symptoms that you guys have been having. So I'm lucky. I'm very grateful in that sense.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, awesome. I mean that in the best possible way. It's awesome
No.
that you're not sick.
Stop bragging about your jab. No, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, Frankie, Jenny Radley actually just said, get well soon, Frankie. And I know for a fact that she's actually also gone through the same in the past couple of weeks. So, okay, so Frankie, let's get into talking to you a little bit and getting to know you. There's a lot of people that are watching now, and then they recognize the voice, but they might not necessarily recognize your face, although you've been in front of camera. So tell us your story, your radio story, Frankie. Where did it all start?
Yeah, so obviously it's quite a long story, this, so I'm going to cut it short. I joined, my radio journey started at Tux FM.
Yes.
I went to study, and then in my final year, I think a lot of us have done this, if you have done some kind of a studying degree, you end up failing a few subjects. So then,
Why would that be, Frankie? Why would you fail some subjects? Just look at your screen quickly.
You can see how I failed a few subjects. Clearly not as focused on life as I should have been. Failed a few subjects. So I had I basically had 2 modules to do for the whole year. So I had all this free time. And I saw these posters on campus saying, join Tux FM. So I was like, well, I got time. And this sounds like fun. Let me do that. And that's where I made one of the worst decisions of my life. And then now I'm in radio. So it turned out what was going to be a fun semester then turned into a career. So I'm very grateful. From Tux FM, I went to Jacaranda. I was at Jacaranda for many years. From Jacaranda, I was at 5FM for a year and a half or something. There we go.
Yeah.
You see, I had to cut my hair to become more corporate.
Yes.
More like acceptable. And then joined 5FM, and about 4 years ago got a call from Anele saying, don't you want to come and join us at 9 for 7 on breakfast? And I was like, yeah, there's no doubt about it. The amazing thing is, Anele and myself, that first time I stepped into a radio studio was with her.
Really?
Almost 20 years ago. Yeah, myself, her, and another friend of ours, Grant. We were part of that sort of intake. So Anele and I have known each other for, must be almost 20 years now, 19 years, that we've been in radio in different forms.
Amazing.
I was listening to Gareth Cliff. I listened to his podcast. And he was talking to, I can't remember who he was talking to, but they'd also come through the route of a Varsity radio station. And it almost... And he made the comment that it's almost a rite of passage for successful DJs. If you look at the successful DJs and radio personalities, an overwhelming amount of them seem to have come through Varsity Radio. So, I mean, Frankie, would you agree that it set you up in good stead and that you got the experience that you needed and perhaps gave you a bit of an advantage over the rest?
Well, I think it's the best way to do it. People often ask me, how do I get into radio? And the answer is you've got to start at a community level. You've got to hone your skills. You've got to play. You've got to learn. There's a lot to learn about radio. So Varsity and campus radio is an awesome breeding ground. There's some incredible personalities that have come through. Gareth was at Tux FM as well. Rian, who's at Jacaranda currently, Rian came through Tux FM as well. So very, very cool breeding ground. And it's such an awesome place to learn and to work and, to build that community and that sort of passion for radio,
So Frankie, with the type of work that you guys do, you get to deal with a lot of famous people. So I've got two avenues that I'm going down here. The first one is I've got a picture of you and our Springbok rugby captain, Sia Kolisi.
Yes.
And I just wanted to ask you about the jersey that you're wearing, Frankie. Is that your team that you support?
Yes, I am a big Stormer supporter. This was taken a few years ago, actually. I ran into Sia recently, just before they started their Lions tour. Yeah, there we go. I ran into him and some of the boys when they were launching the Lions tour as well. I do support the Stormers because a VP man, my oom het actually for VP gespeel, but now
really.
Yeah. But now, we're running into, when your old uncles start talking about their sporting careers, it's like war stories. So, yes. He did play for Province, but it was like for Province was,
yes.
But he still talks about it to this day. My family is from Cape Town originally. So, yes, I support the Stormers. But now Sia's left there.
Yes.
So, obviously he's at the Sharks, so I don't know.
Well,
it's our team.
we both Shark supporters, so you might just as well just move over with Sia.
Well, I mean, this is giving me a good reason never to move, because I don't want to be associated with people like you. So, people that support the Sharks.
I mean, what is next? But I must tell you, Frankie, my brother lives in Cape Town, and he has for many years. And I went to go visit him, and we're in his garage with a couple of his mates. Actually, it was the neighborhood watch. That's the only way you can make friends down there. And I asked him how he felt about the fact that Western Province had just given the Sharks a hiding, thinking, he tells his friends he's a shark, and he was like, shh, what do you mean? He says, no, man, they don't know I'm a shark.
No.
Undercover. But if all province supporters will tell you, we are used to losing. We're very used to losing. Like it's a baseline emotion for us. Any kind of score on the board, we're happy. So
Okay, so the next one I want to talk to you about is this, Frankie. We've come to know you over the years, and we know that you've got a little bit of a Taylor Swift problem.
Yes, it's definitely a problem. I'm obsessed with her. I've been a fan for a very long time, but not in that kind of way.
Why not?
Taylor and I WhatsApp each other often, so you guys, I'm just what I'm saying.
Really?
I'm also a bit jealous.
I'm jealous because I honestly think that she is one of the most gorgeous singers that has graced this planet.
So you had the chance to meet her and actually interview her.
Yeah, I've seen her a few times now. Met her twice or so. She is really cool. Like those photos were from an album launch she did a few years ago. It's the Red album. Yeah. It was in Nashville, so we had the opportunity to go to Nashville to go and firstly experience Music City, and then secondly to go and meet Taylor Swift and have a chat with her. Such an awesome person, like really cool, and I love her music as well. So that's why I'm a massive fan.
Okay. Her ex-boyfriends might not agree with you,
No. We write them off, ne? So as soon as she's done with them, we're done with them. That's how it works. If you're a Swiftie, whatever Taylor decides, that's the route we take. That's how it works,
Okay, you had a little stint with, hosting that little corner there at The Voice South Africa as well, recently, in the last season. How was that sort of experience? Yeah.
No, awesome. I nearly hosted The Voice that year,
yes.
So they were inviting, different people to come and sort of host the little corner there. It's such a big show. Like when you're there, inside the auditorium, and obviously the kind of production that goes into that show, it's massive. Yeah. So very stressful. And they'll in that show, actually, what happened was we were supposed to do, you do practice run throughout the night, and then. We get to one stage where we're supposed to have a little chat in that little corner. And Lorica Rach was busy setting up on stage for her performance that night. So in our rehearsal, they still said, look, Lorica might take a minute or two longer, and then you guys must just talk cuck. Just sort of pad. So we looked at each other and we went, there's no way that you're just on national TV live going to just talk trash. What do we talk about, man? At The Voice, this lekker. So we were a little bit stressed already. We go live, and they had this big drum on stage, which took forever to get onto stage and off stage. So as out of the corner of my eye, I can now see this fucking drum, and I'm going, guys, I can see you were taking your time. Don't take your time yet. We don't know what to say. And you just hear the director come on going, pad for 30 seconds, pad. No, it's nerve-wracking. No, it's nerve-wracking. Yeah. But lots of amazing show.
Awesome. Okay, so Peter wants to ask you about two photos that we have, Frankie. We call them the what is? WTH or F.
Exclamation mark.
Yeah, two what the photos that we found of you. So can you maybe elaborate on this?
Nicolas Cage.
Gentlemen, don't be jealous. I just want to say, don't be jealous. This is yeah, this is a hoodie with Nicolas Cage's face on it. My best friend Etienne has this obsession with. He's got this obsession with like being besties, right? And we're obviously best mate, right? So we're often joking about like what would like best friends do. So you were reviewing the Navara earlier. So he's often made a joke saying we should have matching cars. Like, like I have the blue Navara, he has the black.
Okay.
So the other day he pitched up and said, "My guy, I've ordered us the greatest gift ever," and he rips out these two. They are Lumo orange, but when I say Lumo orange, I mean literally we could direct traffic with these hoodies. Like that's how Lumo they are, and with Nicolas Cage's face on it. I obviously burst out laughing. We are big Nicolas Cage fans, so this is our BFF outfit. And as soon as we are allowed to walk around in public, you will see us in the nearest bar wearing outfits.
Frankie, thank you so much for that story, because it actually leads on to the next photograph that we have serious questions about.
Yes.
Wow, guys. Like, I didn't know we were fighting. Why are we fighting? Like, I came here for fun. No, why are we fighting? What's happening here?
So this is a nice picture to lead us into the next couple of questions about. Not a lot of people know that you're a musician, Frankie. So this is actually one of your bandmates from Go-Go Mashville. Is that right?
Yes. So yeah.
So try and explain yourself out of that one. Why are you so red, Bree?
Oh, no, guys. So yes, so that was us messing around on a photo shoot for Go-Go Mashville. We had sort of recorded our first album, and we were just messing around. I don't even know where you got that photo from. Anyway, we'll talk offline. We'll take this. We'll circle back. We'll pin this and circle back.
Okay.
But yes, we that actually on the right hand side, that's Etienne. So he's the best mate that bought me the Nicolas Cage.
Okay.
Yeah, we were in a band called Go-Go Mashville. It was a country band. I've been in many music projects over the years, so this was like a sort of country music project we were part of. It was lots of fun.
Yeah.
This is the band called Frankie Fire.
Yes.
We used to tour the country. Actually, this is on stage with Van Cartel and with Fok of Politicar, and like this was huge amounts of fun. A few years ago already. This was when we were very wild, still very wild.
But I mean, you're obviously quite a talented musician, Frankie. I mean, you see you there on drums and guitar and that type of thing. Are you classically trained, or is this self-taught?
No, it's self-taught. I started playing music quite young. I was quite young, so about 10, 11, I started picking up guitar, and then I picked up the drums. And to my parents, absolute they despise the drums because it's so loud, obviously.
Yeah.
So I play drums, guitar. Those are my two sort of main things that I dabble in, and it's huge amounts of fun. It's always been a big creative outlet for me. I dreamt when I just came out of school, I dreamt of being a rock star.
Okay.
But
that explains the hair, the long hair. That explains why, because that was in the 80s.
But I mean, it must also give you, I think, almost a unique insight. A unique insight when it comes to how you evaluate and comment on musicians that are on playlists on the station. I mean, I think it's awesome.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. I mean, I've had a massive passion for music my whole life. So it's awesome that sort of I get combine that with my job on radio. And it's wonderful to speak to other musicians when we do interviews or we come in. You sort of have a deeper insight of what they've gone through to get to that point, So similar to you guys understand the cars much better, so you know what goes into creating, designing, and making, manufacturing a vehicle,
Yeah.
Talking about cars, Frankie, it is a car show, so let's go into a little bit of cars. Please. Because I think we've embarrassed you enough now. So let's talk about your first car, Frankie. Was it a Ford Cortina?
Yes. So my first car, I turned 17, 18, and I begged my dad. This was 99, right? So I begged my dad to get like, I think there was a Ford Focus or something was all the rage. There was a Ford Fiesta, something like that.
Yeah.
It was all the rage in 99. So that was the car I wanted. My friends all got either the City Golf or it was this Ford, right?
All right.
And I begged my dad, this is the car I want. Excuse me. Corona. So I begged my dad, please, can I get this car? Like, with everything in my soul, I want one of these. I want to be one of the cool kids at school, you know? And so the day I got my license, my dad said, congratulations, son. I'm so proud of you. You've got your license. And, you know, in the movies, they always like open the garage door and then there's a new vehicle standing there.
Yeah.
Well, my life is nothing like the movies. My dad said, congratulations, open the garage door. And my grand's, I think it's a 1967 or a 70 Cortina. It's still the, you know, those old big body round shape ones?
Yes.
The old one. He was like, here's your new car.
Older than that one.
It's got the round
Yes,
lights.
remember, so this is the
like,
box shape.
Isn't there another one? We got another picture with round lights, don't we?
No, I don't know if it was there. But so
Yes.
even older than that. So not you're saying not as cool as that.
No, not even as that was a very cool sort of box shape one. Remember
Yes.
there was one with it was like a round back.
I hear you. Okay, yes.
You know what
I
I'm
know.
saying?
Yeah.
Round back. Yeah, it was like that. And the best thing about it is, like I remember the one front light was cracked. The seat belts were loose, like they didn't really work. It's not safe at all. You know, the seats had been because my dad, it was my grand's car until she couldn't drive anymore. And my dad they were young when his dad bought that car. So you must know.
I hear you.
Frankie, I've got a question for you it's been a burning question that I've actually had for a few years, and I'm so delighted that you're on the show so that finally we've got somebody that can answer this. There are 3 people genuinely that I want to meet in life, okay? The first is the guy that managed to convince people to buy houses at Danefern next to the world's biggest shit pipe. The second is I want to meet the guy that has managed to convince people to put nitrogen in their passenger car tires. But the guy that I really want to meet, because this guy's a genius, a marketing supremo, I want to meet the guy and perhaps understand the story behind who convinced Highveld Stereo to change their branding from 94.7 to 947.
Right.
That guy's a genius.
I'll have to give you his number because it obviously wasn't me. You want to? Was I just text you? How do you want to? No. So, do you really want to know why this makes sense? Do you really want to know?
No, I'm just taking the piss. Don't worry.
Okay. Yeah, so Frankie, just before we get to game time, which is my favorite part of the show, you recently had a little excursion at the Jaguar and Land Rover Experience Center, because
Yes.
you are a car guy. You really enjoy your cars, eh?
I do. No, I do. I am currently. Pete, you're gonna hate me. I drive. My wife has a Renault Megane, right?
Yeah.
And I have a Freelander 2, so an old Freelander 2. Those are my cars that I drive around with now.
All
So
right.
I'm quite a big Land Rover fan. And for my father-in-law's birthday, actually, we booked him. I said to him, "Let's go do this Land Rover course there in Lone Hills, close to where I stay as well."
Yes.
At the experience there, and so I still messaged him, "Do you want to do the Land Rover one or the Jaguar one?" And he immediately said, "Jag."
Right.
That's what we were in. We were lucky enough to take, actually, and this is the first time ever, I was in the I-Pace.
Yes.
So it's the first time I've ever driven an electric car. Like, I've never, ever driven an electric car. So it was
Awesome.
Our first chance to take it out for a spin. It is incredible. Like, that vehicle is amazing. It really is amazing. Have you guys driven the I-Pace before?
We haven't driven the I-Pace. I certainly haven't, but we've driven quite a few electric vehicles, Frankie, and I've got to agree with you. They are heaps of fun. I mean, the torque that's available instantly and the performance out of the vehicles is sensational. So, yeah. You know,
the funny thing is, because obviously now neither of us have ever been in an electric car. So this was our first sort of rodeo, and the first thing is that it's so quiet, right?
Yes.
And a lot of people will say, because they had some of the V8s there as well, so a lot of people will say, I miss that engine roar of a strong V8 or a fucking something that's supercharged. The irony is, when you guys got into that Navara, you had a conversation about how quiet it is in the cabin.
Yes.
I mean, aren't we just fickle human beings, hey, at the end of the day?
Good point.
But Frankie, I don't know if you remember, we also test drove the one and only Tesla in South Africa. And I mean, one of the comments that I had to say about that was that when you're driving in an electric vehicle and you're on the road and you get up to a robot and you suddenly hear this noisy, clunky internal combustion engine vehicle next to you, you realize just how archaic it is.
Yeah.
And that the electric vehicle really is the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, definitely.
Frankie, I think that was lots of fun, man. It was so nice to sort of dig into a bit of your history and your background, and getting to know you a little bit better. But I think if you're up to it, we are going to have some fun with game time.
Okay, let's try.
Okay, so for the viewers at home and watching with us now, you guys can also participate. So if you know the answer to the question, you can just give your answer in the comments below the video. So Frankie and Peter, this is how it's going to work. I'm going to show you a partial picture of a car. If you recognize the car, just shout your name. I'll come to you and then we can talk answers and points. Are you guys happy with that?
Yes.
Okay, so tonight's clue is I decided some random way, I don't know how, that I wanted to look at cars of 1995. All right, so it's cars from 1995, and what I did to switch this up a little bit, because this was very interesting to me, is that we are going to give extra bonus points to the guy that can guess the closest to the price of the car in 1999. Oh,
that's cool.
You guys happy with that?
Yeah, that's
Is it 99 or 95?
95. Sorry, did I say 99? 95. Okay. So if you recognize the car, either one of you guys can get bonus points for giving us answers on the pricing. Okay.
Sorry, just a quick question. I feel like this is heavily stacked against me because Pete was, Pete, you were 47 in 95, hey?
Well done, Frankie.
So I haven't gone senile yet. I can still recall the cars from 1995.
Well done, Frankie. Okay, guys and viewers, are you guys ready for game time? Here we go. Here's the first one.
Camry.
No, you have to shout your name.
Oh, sorry, Frankie.
Okay, so Frankie, no, that's not a Camry. Peter, what is that?
That's an Audi.
Yes. Do you know which one?
I would say that's an A4.
Okay, yes, I'm going to give it to Pete.
And I would say that in 1995, that A4 probably retailed for about 180,000 Rand.
180?
Yeah.
Okay, Frankie, now that you know what it is, do you want to guess what price that was in 1995? I can tell you Peter is way too high.
Yeah, I was going to go with 110.
Frankie gets a point for being the closest. It was 103,900.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting, eh? Interesting. Okay, so 1-1. This is going to get interesting tonight. So you can get all the cars wrong, but you can get the pricing right and still tie this up. That's going to be awesome.
That's cool.
Okay, so here comes the second one.
Frankie.
Frankie, I'm going to come to you.
Yeah, I think it's a BMW, eh?
I'm going to give you half a point so far for BMW. Do you want to hazard a guess? Which
Why
one?
half a point? Oh, must give the model as well.
Yeah. Do you think you know? Is it? Let's go 3, 5, or 7 series.
I want to say it's a 5 series. This.
Okay, so then you would be wrong.
So I'm going to say it's a 3 series, Peter.
Then you're wrong. Okay, so I'm going to give the point to Frankie because he was the closest.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's the 7 series. That was the 750 ILA.
Wow.
That was hardcore. Okay, so guys, this was in 1995, the top of the range BMW that you could buy. So that would give you an indication of pricing. Most expensive one that you could buy. What do you guys think?
320,000 rand and 50 cents.
No?
No, I think Pete too high. I'm going to go...
Too high? A 7 Series. Too high.
In 1995?
Yes.
More than that?
Yes.
Okay, 600.
Yes, you are the closest.
600.
With all my guidance, I'm gonna give you another point. Okay, so shocker, guys, 510,000 rand in 1995.
That's big tin.
That was a lot of money back then, eh?
I got to say that, realizing now that 500,000 rand in 1995 actually makes
Basically
the
like-
cars these days very good value.
Yeah.
If you look at the technology that's in them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so at the moment it is 3-1 to Frankie.
I just want to say, for that price, Pete, you could have bought a very nice place in Dainfern, huh? You would have a mansion right now.
Okay, so Jenny's playing along. She says, wow, that's expensive. Leandra is playing along. Simon, yes, that was the Audi A4. Boris Lange is playing along. Okay, guys, here comes number 3.
Oh, my goodness.
Frankie, Peter, anybody?
Peter.
Okay, Peter.
I'm going to say just because of those door handles, that looks Japanese.
Yeah.
And you're not going to make it obvious. I'm going to say it's a Nissan of some sort.
No, you're wrong. Frankie, I'm coming to you.
I want to say it's a Telstar.
Yo, Frankie, that is amazing, brother. That is a Ford Telstar. Can you guys remember that car?
No.
Yes.
Well, Frankie obviously did. So that's another point to Frankie. Okay, so Peter, you can redeem yourself with price here.
Oh, it's a Ford Telstar. The Audi was 103, so I'd say that's going to be 95,000.
95, Frankie, your guess.
85.
Frankie, have you got some insight here, Roo? Because that was
No,
86,500.
Oh. Yes.
Okay, so this is running away
I
now.
always get the impression that I get screwed on this game.
Yeah, so Marius Lange says, well done, Frankie. Simon Labello says that was 220. Peter Pretorius, if you are talking about the Ford Telstar, you were very close with 70. Thanks for watching with us, Peter. Okay, guys, this is running away, Peter.
Oh.
Here comes number 4.
Peter.
Okay, Peter, you should know
That
this
has
one.
got to be a Mercedes-Benz, and I would say that's a E-Class.
Well done, Peter. Well done. I'm going to give you the point. Yes, that is the E320.
So 1995.
How much do you think that was?
220,000 rand.
220, you say? And Frankie, what do you think?
I'm going to go to 195.
Okay, so Peter has got 2 points on this one. This vehicle in 1995 was 263,500, thereabouts.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
Interesting. I like this sort of price thing, eh? Nice angle.
It's very cool.
Okay, number 5, guys. This was I dreamt about this car. I wanted one.
Peter.
Yes, Peter, what is that?
That is a Nissan Sentra.
Close, but not.
A Sabre.
Yes, Frankie.
But it wasn't the Sabre Sentra.
Yep, no, it's a Sabre. It was a Sentra and a Sabre.
Oh, the Sabre was the hatch.
Yes. Very, very close.
Okay.
Very close.
I get half points
Is
for the
this
Nissan.
not of your current car? Because this looks like the current car you drive.
No, the one that I'm driving is based on that, but dropped a little bit with free flow exhaust and all that
the
sort of
lights.
stuff.
Yeah,
And
you've got the lights.
neon lights, yes. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys each a point because you were
Price.
close. What do you guys think that was?
45,000 rand.
45 is wrong. Yes, and I'm talking specifically that top of the range. That was the 2-liter GXI, I think. Okay. So that's the top of the range one.
I'm going to go 70.
Okay, so Frankie's closest, so I'm going to give him the point. But this will shock you.
Yeah.
102,250. So 102,250.
It obviously didn't sell very well then.
Obviously, that top of the range one not, because that was expensive.
Sure.
Compare that to a Telstar and the Audi. Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay, guys. Number
Wow.
6. Number 6. Here comes the next one.
Peter.
Oh, Peter, what is that?
That is a Toyota Corolla.
Toyota again, but not the Corolla.
It's
Not the
based on-
Corolla.
No, it's not a Corolla.
What was the other one?
Remember, there was a sedan and a hatch.
It was the Conquest.
Oh, the Conquest.
Okay, Peter got it first. I'm going to give it to Pete. Okay, so bonus points for price in 95. What do you guys think? Peter Pretorius says 28. No.
1995, a Toyota Conquest. So let's see. I'm going to go with 50.
Very, very close, Pete. Okay, so Peter's fighting back with the pricing here because that was 51.
Oh, wow.
51039. Yes, very interesting. Okay,
Wow.
so before we get to the last one, let's just tally up the points here quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to Frankie. So that's 4, 5, 6. So Frankie, you are on the lead with 7 to 6 at the
point.
moment with 1 point. Okay.
Three
Close
points in
man.
play.
Yes, and 3 points to play.
Or not
Well,
two-
2 points.
two-
Yeah,
two
2
points in
points.
play,
I just
Okay.
want to check. You said the prize is 50,000 rand, huh?
Yeah. No, it's a free weekend away with Fardy.
Oh, God. For the guy that loses, huh?
Yeah, for the guy that loses, yes. Okay, guys, here comes the last one.
Uno.
Peter.
Oh, that was so close. That was so. I had both of you
Okay,
guys.
but then give him the benefit of the lag.
Okay, so Frankie, I'm going to come to you. What is that?
Isn't that an Uno?
That is absolutely correct, Frankie. So you have made my day. So let's see what's going to happen now with pricing, guys. Let's talk about this. Is not the Uno Fire. Remember, the Fire was the 3-door, the entry-level one.
Okay.
Okay, so what do you guys think a entry-level Uno Fire went for in 95? This one shocked me.
I want to say 28.
28, okay.
1995. I would say less than 20. I would say call
Less
it
than
20.
20.
Yeah.
No, that's a joke. Okay, so Frank, you get another point.
Thank you.
What was it?
37,240.
Okay. Oh.
So I've got a very, very interesting question here. Peter Pretorius, you almost got all the pricing right from 95. So are you sitting there with a car magazine from 95 or something? That's
No,
very,
no.
very impressive. Is Peter
No,
Pretorius helping you? Is Peter Pretorius helping you, Frankie, with pricing or something?
Yeah, you couldn't see my phone, but it's actually right there. Sorry, boy.
All right, Frankie, that brings us to the end of our segment. Thank you so much for joining us, man. It was so much fun having you on the show.
No, thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. It was lots of fun, and I really enjoy to talk automotive. So thank you guys for inviting me, and we'll have a rematch at some stage.
Yes,
Absolutely.
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 Listen, get well soon, eh?
Thanks, you. Thanks, I will.
Cheers, guys. Cheers.
Keep safe, Frankie, and we'll chat soon.
Wow, that was a lot of fun, Pete.
Cool, eh?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I like that angle. I think we might do a
That's
little
very
bit more
cool.
of that. Okay, so Peter Pretorius says he just knows his cars. Well done, well done, Peter. Well done. Mario says he wouldn't want to Uno for free. Yeah, that's.
But the Morris
interesting.
works at Audi, that's why.
That's why. Okay, so let's get into our next segment. Next, we're going to talk about how things work. And tonight, we're talking about collision avoidance systems in cars. So, Professor Peter will take us through a couple of these systems in the next segment. And this is proudly brought to you by Suzuki Auto South Africa.
Welcome to Let's Talk Automotive, and in this week's segment on how things work, we're going to be taking you through the basic workings of collision avoidance systems that we're starting to see more and more on our vehicles these days. So the first one I'm going to start off with is our forward-facing collision avoidance systems. So in basic terms, the way this works is that we either have a radar system that's pointing forward that's detecting any objects, including vehicles in front of us, and indeed we can even have lasers or a combination of the two. But in essence, what the forward-facing collision avoidance system is doing is it's calculating constantly our potential time to impact between ourselves and the vehicle that's in front of us. And as soon as the control unit feels that we are getting too close to a vehicle and that we might impact, the car itself will autonomously brake for us and hopefully prevent a collision. Now, obviously, we can't defy the laws of physics, and if our closing in rate is too great, we can still have an accident. But at least we would have slowed down the vehicle considerably by the time we impact the vehicle in front of us. And in fact, engineers call the forward-facing collision avoidance systems an electronic crumple zone. Now, there were a few challenges prior to these systems being implemented across the world, and in some countries they were in fact banned. And the reason why they were banned is that the authorities felt that perhaps it was an unfair advantage that one vehicle was going to be able to slow down autonomously, but what about the vehicles behind? And in fact, some of the manufacturers designed systems that were rearward-facing collision avoidance systems, so that the vehicle could now calculate how slow it had to go in order to avoid an impact in front, but not brake too hard in order to cause a vehicle following from impacting. Now, one of the key systems that we use with collision avoidance technology is brake assist, and we've gone through brake assist on previous episodes. But brake assist, when it was initially launched, was capped at a maximum of 25% brake force effort. And again, it goes to the legislation. However, these days, our systems are able to give us brake assistance up to 100%. The next system I want to talk about is our lane departure warning or lane departure assist function that we have on our vehicles. Now, the way this works is that we have a stereoscopic camera on the windscreen of the vehicle that's facing forward. Now, stereoscopic is just a fancy word for 3D, and this camera is constantly analyzing conditions in front of us, and one of the main functions is for it to read the actual painted lines on the road. And as soon as the vehicle detects that we're straying from our lane, it's going to intervene in one of two ways. If we've got an early warning system, it's merely going to give us an alert that we are moving out of our lane. However, if we've got an advanced system and an assist system, if we start straddling the lane, what it's going to do is one of two things. It's either going to brake our inside wheels, which will pull the car back into the lane, or it'll intervene if we have an electric steering assisted system by physically turning the steering wheel. Now, the only time it won't do that is if we make an intentional maneuver out of the lane. So if we put our indicator on and turn out the lane, the system is not going to either alert us or prevent us from making a maneuver outside the lane. The third system that we find generally with the packages that we have on our vehicles is blind spot assist. Now, as the name suggests, what the system does is it compensates for our inability to see vehicles that have come into our blind spot. The way that it knows that a vehicle's come into our blind spot is because there are small radar devices that are either located under our wing mirrors or indeed in the rear bumper. And so when a vehicle comes into our blind spot, at this point, if we try and make a maneuver across a lane and into the path of the vehicle that's in our blind spot, very much like the lane keep assist system, the vehicle will either give us a warning if it's just an early warning system, or if it's an assist system, it's going to actually prevent us from making that maneuver by either braking the inside wheels once again or physically turning our steering wheel. The fourth system that we're finding as part of these packages is, of course, our traffic sign recognition system. Now, once again, that hard-working stereoscopic camera that we have on our windscreen is able to read our road signs. And now what happens is if we have our adaptive cruise control activated, which has activated our radar and is now maintaining our distance between ourselves and our vehicle in front of us automatically, what happens now is that if the speed limit changes, so for example, it reduces from 120 kilometers an hour to 100, the system will automatically slow down the vehicle and prevent us from getting any traffic fines. That's if we've got the assist system. Obviously, if we've just got an early warning system, it's going to give us a beep and it may illuminate an icon on the cluster for us. So as you can see, these systems are fantastic in their functionality, and they've become a lot more advanced as time has progressed. And it's no doubt in my mind that these systems are actually the precursor to full autonomous driving that hopefully we're going to see soon in our cars. So that's it from this week's episode of How Things Work. We hope you found this little bit of information useful, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Yo, Pete, that was very interesting. Gary Brett and Tony Jones have just joined us. Thanks for joining us, guys. Yaku Taylor is watching. Simon Labello still watching. Peter Pretorius has a question for you, Pete. He says, what is the effect of the collision assist on towing of a trailer or a caravan?
It's a very good question, which I'm going to make a very big assumption now. I'd have to actually check up on this. But if you've got a correctly factory-fitted tow bar and connector, then it's going to work properly.
Sure. And that's a very, very good point, because often in fitment centers and aftermarket, fitting of tow bars, etc., people sometimes can't believe how much the tow bar, like 15,000 rand for a tow bar, whatever the case is. But then it's a OEM harness that plugs into the car. And for that,
plugs into a CAN data bus system, which is very complex. So, yeah, I suppose there's two potential answers. But all I can say is when it comes to tow hitches and connections, use the OEM stuff. It's worth the extra amount of money.
Absolutely. Peter, we've had so much fun with Frankie. We've gone way over time tonight, but luckily there's no F1 pit box tonight, and we are on Facebook and YouTube, and we can do whatever we want to. So that's why we do it. So I think let's get into our last segment of tonight, and let's just have some fun with some memes. Okay, Pete. So I can't remember which one was first now. So I think let's just surprise us quickly. This was the one that you sent me. I really enjoyed this, and also I sent this on to what's his name now? How can I forget? Gideon Duplessis at JAC, because he's the biggest Led Zeppelin fan ever. So, did you fix that horrible noise? Sure, I did. I removed the Carly B CD and replaced it with Led Zeppelin.
There's an old joke. There's an old joke in the workshops where the guys will say, "Customer came in complaining about a jerk in the vehicle, so I told them to get out."
Or if you hear the noise, turn up the radio. That's a lot cheaper. That's a lot cheaper than getting it fixed. All right, so let's have a look at the next one. Oh, this is the one because of the age thing. I've actually seen you do this, Pete, when we're looking for something. I'm lost. Time to turn down the radio so I can see better.
That's me. I gotta say, I do. If I'm getting irritated or lost, I turn the volume down.
I see the guys online are also enjoying that. Okay, so the last one, and we didn't speak about it. This is Mr. Total Wolf. And she says, I bet he's thinking about other women. And he says, what makes the Red Bull car so fast? Listen, Pete. I'm so enjoying this Formula One season so far. It's really, really, really living up to the expectations, first of all, and just making it interesting again.
It's I got to say, one of the best Formula One seasons that I can remember in my 75 years on this planet. So I really am enjoying the season. I'm just obviously ripping the Hamilton fans because they've been telling us that his 7 world championships are not about the car.
Yeah, it's about the
driver.
Yes.
And now suddenly it's about the goddamn car.
And the front wing. So Marius says the front wing. Oh my goodness. Listen, guys, that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you very much for joining us. Next week, we have got another Nissan up for review, the Nissan Torch. I mean, Magnite. So join us again for that. We'll be back same time, same place next week. See you then, guys.
Cheers, everyone.